Hey guys, welcome to week 13. It is not 6 a.m., I promise you. In fact, if it'll focus, it's nearly 7 p.m. So we're improving. So last week I left you guys with the trees, which was a lot of fun to work on, and we're finally getting a feeling for how this mock is going to come together. What we didn't get onto is this bit over here, which is what I want to start with. To do so, I need to move the table. This area of Hogwarts is not very well documented. In fact, we are not even going to be using Hogwarts Legacy as a reference material for this because if you have played Hogwarts Legacy, you'll know that there's a huge dome building which acts as the greenhouses. We're going a little bit more traditional and we're going to stick with the classic individual greenhouses. Now, of course, in the movies, there are 13, I believe, that cover this whole area and they even come around the side a bit. So we're scaling it down ever so slightly, down to 2 greenhouses, and these are just the ones from the classic, why do I keep saying classic? From the 2019 astronomy set, I believe. So I like the way that they look, and I might modify them slightly, but that's the basic size that we're going with. We've got roughly about 20 studs to work with going this way. And I'm going to quickly pause here, and we're going to come up with some pictures, or find some pictures online of what this area looks like in various concepts, movies and such, and we'll get back on how we might want to approach this. So I'm going to put some pictures up on your screen right now so you know what I'm talking about, but frankly I was hoping for a lot better. I have never seen anything so boring in my life, and if I try to build that in Lego, well, I don't even need to do anything. We're done. It's a patch of grass and some greenhouses. Technically I need 2 more here, but you get my point. It's a little dull, so we're going to get a little bit more creative because I thought we could get a little bit of inspiration, but turns out this has all got to come from us guys. And if I mess it up this week, you can go down in the comments and be like, why didn't you try this? And then maybe I'll try it next week. So I count on you guys. Oh, and I also really quickly wanted to say that to all the people that have gone in previous videos and given me really great suggestions on what I can do to improve Hogwarts, whether I've responded to you or not, I do want you to know that I have considered a lot of your opinions, and there are some ideas like blue trees over here, stuff that goes on over there between the 2 bits of the castle, and many other suggestions like what to do with the wall that I am planning to incorporate, and I haven't done them yet or talked about them because either A, I don't have the pieces, or I haven't gotten around to that section yet. But I do want to thank you all who have taken the time to actually go down and share some thoughts, because it really does help me to have some other opinions, because I'm just talking to a camera right now, and I know that many of you are watching this, but to me, I'm just standing by myself in a room. So hearing some expert opinions from the outside world is great. All right, so before I fully lost hope of there being something to reference, I did decide to pull out this awesome book, which if you don't have it and you're ever building Hogwarts, I seriously suggest you do. It's the Blueprints book, and it is basically, I'll flip through it very quickly so you get an idea, but it is basically every single set or idea that they had for the movies, drawn at architectural scales, plans, elevations, sections, what have you, and they've just been a real help. I don't know what I'm looking at here. This is some columns looking into the Black Lake. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, I'm getting distracted. So this book is very useful, and if you're ever building Hogwarts, you should definitely get it because you can get some insight into some of the interior scenes that you don't really ever pay attention to because they're just in the background of some movies and such. You get an idea of the full scale of the buildings that they were working with. Anyhow, the greenhouse that they have here, this is from the Chamber of Secrets. So of course, we're not doing a circular design. This is actually what I believe would be in the outer wall of the castle that was shown in the movies. What I'm really looking at here is this section right here, which I think is really cool to understand because it's not actually that big if you look at it. So we've got a table right here in the middle and a side table, and we've got about a meter and another side table there. This is a little snapshot from the movies of what that's looking like. So obviously everyone's aware of what the greenhouses look like, but it's more the details that I'm interested in. Sort of this really nice arched, arch that you see right here. And I guess it's built out of iron. And then we have a really nice stone gargoyle on the top. And then also fundamentally the fact that the greenhouse is not actually just a normal pitched roof. It's actually offset. So this is the center axis right here. So we've got what I would assume if we were building in Lego terms, this is like the equivalent of maybe 2 bricks deep, whereas this is almost closer to 6. So it'll be interesting to build something like that because it means that I can have a larger exposed side to the front of the castle, or the way that you would view Hogwarts Castle, and then there'd just be a small skylight window over there. And lastly, this is another amazing book that I seriously suggest that you go ahead and purchase if you don't have it already. This is The Art and Making of Hogwarts Legacy. So this basically takes you behind the scenes and gives you a bunch of snapshots of all the moments, all the scenes, all the classrooms, all the characters in Hogwarts Legacy. And of course, because that's what we're using as our base, it's really nice to be able to get a clear shot of this without having to open the game every time. And you get a little bit of a backstory of why they made some of the choices they did. Now, of course, this is the greenhouse, or the interior of one of the greenhouses, concept art. Even though this is what the greenhouses look like in Hogwarts Legacy, you can see there's huge complex of a Victorian-style greenhouse. Now, while the exterior doesn't look like that, I don't see why we can't take inspiration from the interior over here. They've gone with a heavily copper building. So everything is very rusted and everything looks quite mythical. And so if we take this as being the pretty much overall dimensions of what the larger greenhouse would look like, you can see that we have a little bit more space to work with here, and it's making it feel a little bit less claustrophobic. We have a little bit more space to work with to create some proper scenes and to create a more memorable entrance into these greenhouse areas. Okay, so check this out. This is, let's call it prototype number 1 of my greenhouse. You can see it's got a very wonky, very let's call it amateur design, if you will. But I was more experimenting with the overall scale and some of the qualities that I wanted from the greenhouse. This is one of these designs that will just sort of evolve over time as I get more ideas. I might completely destroy it a few times. I might just make a few modifications, but I'll just walk you through what I really did. That's all the extra pieces that I didn't end up using. I've widened it slightly, and that is just based on the roof shape that I was talking about earlier. I made this slightly larger in line with that diagram that I was showing you in the book. And that just means that everything's just slightly bigger, and it's really trying to maintain the look of the original greenhouses as much as possible. Put some archways there just for a little bit of detail. And of course the roof is removable. Very, very simple interior. I mean, it is just a bench with some mandrakes in them and a front door, which conveniently can't even open up all the way because it hits the door. But I will just go ahead and throw it in the mock so you get an idea of what it looks like in terms of scale. So here we have it, and you can see that we now have a lot of room around the greenhouse to work with, and I'm really enjoying how this is looking compared to the two smaller ones. I feel like this one has a little bit more breathing room, and that the greenhouse is a little bit more substantial, so I can actually put some scenes on the interior. It also seems a little bit more complete. It fits with the overall aesthetic of the castle. There it is in terms of scale, and you can see that it does peak above the wall, so we have some variation in terms of size there. So we're going to go ahead and try to polish this off a little bit and work on the overall area over here. All right, guys, so it's a few days later, and I'm just giving myself a little bit of time to think about how I really want to tackle this area, because the greenhouse, of course, is the focus, but I want to go a little bit above and beyond in terms of how I'm going to use the space around it. What I really don't want to do is just throw a few plants, put a path or something, and call it a day. I want to think about, okay, if this is a school and this is essentially a classroom and these are the school grounds, what else would you find there? So my immediate thought was, oh, okay, so we're around greenhouses. So I imagine we could have like a row of planters down here, and this could be like a nice garden walk, if you will, next to the greenhouses. I was thinking we could plop some benches along the way for students that would sit down and just sort of enjoy the outdoors and the view. And then, of course, tying in with the other major theme is throwing a bunch of statues everywhere. And I think that's a very Hogwarts thing, very castle-esque thing to do, is just to throw a bunch of statues everywhere. So we're going to work a little bit more on that. And we're going to try to curate this, because this, of course, is trying to just let nature run free. It's some rough paths and everything. But this area over here, I want to feel like it's a little bit more curated. So we're going to go in that direction. I think I will get rid of this idea of the step paths, just because I like the concept of just tying in the dark 10 paths that I started and that I even focused on over here. All right, so the first thing I did in this area is I laid out the paths starting from what we had existing over here, just playing about with a few wedge plates and angling it ever so slightly so that we can get it over there to the greenhouse. I took the greenhouse off of the original 8x16 plate that it was on because it was beige, so I didn't want that going on. Transferred all over and plopped the tiles onto the mock base. And you can see here that I've scattered a few plants and such all the way around, and we're really trying to build a little bit of an environment around the greenhouse. Some interesting things that you might be able to spot here is I was trying to bring in the world of herbology with some exotic plants. So right here we have Neville trying to snip at a something or another. This was my attempt at throwing together a bunch of different plant pieces and reddish brown robotics to try to make something that looks a little bit creepy. Right behind that we have a little garden area. I didn't have as much space as I would have liked to build actual benches and what I was talking about earlier, but I have put a statue from another chess piece, and we have a little bit of space. I assume you could sit over there. I did end up using a bit of those stepping stones, and here we have a younger Cedric Diggory. And of course, can't forget the confrontation between the two Professor Sprouts, the new version and the old version right there, doppelgangers. So taking a step back, you can see that this area is now feeling a lot more cohesive with the overall aesthetic of the interior grounds over here. Last thing that I was working on for a little bit is trying to figure out how I can make this wall look a little bit better. The first thoughts I had, and this was based on a suggestion, is using perhaps some arches and embedding those into the wall so that I can have essentially something like that along the whole length of it. But because I have all this integrated rock work and plant life, I didn't really want to do it on the outside. So I thought, okay, I might do it on the inside. But then once I started working on the interior over here, there wasn't much wall to work with. It was being covered up by a lot of stuff anyway, so it would kind of be a little bit of a waste of parts. So instead, what I focused on is trying to just add in a few little details here and there. So this is a staircase that would run up to the top of the ramparts, and I just thought it'd be a nice lookout tower. I try to match this circular, whatever you want to call that, over here as well, so that we're evening it out, drawing inspiration from this and stretching it along the wall. And then we've got a few little rampart pieces sticking out, and I've used the whatever that hero something, right, power is not the word, Nexo Knights, the Nexo Knight shield, plain ones in beige. Don't know why I was thinking power. So Nexo Knight shields over there just to add a little bit of detail to those ramparts, and then as we come around the corner, just a few cheese slopes and such to round it off. So with a little bit more work needing to be done right here to make it match this bit over here, I think we're finally getting a wall that we're really happy with. So I've gone ahead and topped up this bit of the wall with some tiles over here out of the last rampart that just kind of symmetrical, I think. I mean, it's technically a little bit off, but that's all right. Taking a step back here, looking at the wall overall, it's not much that we did, but it's enough to just take the wall from being there to looking complete now. And I think now that, I keep saying now that now that we've finished this area over here by the greenhouses, taking a step back, we can pretty much say that now at the end of week 13 that the castle grounds are done, which is great because it was a really exciting thing to work on, and I might need to do a little bit here and there, but it now means that we can move back to the castle. And the big things that are coming up is we've got to pretty much gut the inside of these, try to put some interiors, figure out how we can make some openings in the walls and do all of that. My first thinking was for next week is to work on this bit right above the library. Initially, I had thought that this whole thing could be the library, but actually just based on what you can see from the back, I can actually repurpose this top level for what I'm hoping to be the defense against the dark arts classroom. But in any case, guys, here's just a last quick look at the progress that we were able to get done here. I'm really proud with how this has come out. Now, the greenhouse is going to need a little bit of playing about with, especially the fact that there's a giant hole right here. But that is all for week 13. I hope you enjoyed this video and you're looking forward to week 14 where we can finally get onto the castle. So see you all in next week's video, guys. Bye now.